Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Mitch McConnell, Darlene or Darla Graham, AOC, we're just getting started. James Edwards with me, thepoliticalcesspool.org. Welcome back, sir. I guess there's a sudden death. Lindsey Graham, after the Ukraine trip, now there's all kinds of speculation about it. People say that he died overseas, was assassinated by a foreign government, or maybe the FBI signals foul play, but the government says, hey, no harm, no foul here. Trump mocking anybody that wonders about this conspiracy here. James, on the up and up, or what do you say, sir?
It is suspicious. I mean, I don't try to find a conspiracy in every single news item like some good-natured people do. But certainly, I mean, you have to at least let it cross your mind that a sitting United States senator dies within hours of supposedly return.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you, James? All right, we'll try to work on getting James back. I don't know what happened with that. Hopefully we can get him squared away. But this Graham sudden death thing is very interesting. You know, I don't know what happened to him. I just know this. The government officials, if you will, say that Graham returned to Washington before his death in a preliminary medical investigation. Say he died basically due to heart situations. You're the back, James.
All right, perfect.
Now you got your wrong mic, though, so you got to fix that. We'll go ahead and get that fixed for you. In the meantime, though, officials are saying, hey, he returned to Washington before his death, and a preliminary medical exam says, hey, it's on the up and up. There's no foul play. Authorities say there's no evidence supporting claims of criminal involvement, although...
Check.
We don't have the final real tests and everything else, back and squared away. So the question with this thing is, what on earth is happening? Because nothing is official until it's been denied, usually, James.
As I say, it is suspicious that you have a sitting United States senator who is amongst the most hawkish people when it comes to foreign entanglements and using America's military in all of the places George Washington warned us not to be. By the way, I just got to say, and I want to be clear about my thoughts on Lindsey Graham, there's a verse in Proverbs, I don't have it pulled up for me, so I'm going to paraphrase. When the wicked die, the righteous rejoice. And I just think all of this wailing and gnashing of teeth, showing respect to a person who was truly a despicable person. I love South Carolina. I don't see how the good people of South Carolina so consistently and unfailingly elect the worst people to represent them at the highest levels. Yes, I mean... Lindsey Graham is dead.
And so you got to wonder, what was the reason? Was he about to come out and say he's not as hawkish on the war? He was going to
I doubt that.
dissolve his partnership with Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, I'm not sure what, but it's also very interesting, in my opinion, that they pick his sister.
Yeah.
I guess Darla Graham, his sister, will now finish out his term. The governor, Republican South Carolina governor, Henry McMaster, basically appointed his sister. Why would you do that? That's weird.
It's pure clownery. It's clown world. And just 30 more seconds on Graham. I mean, there were some Iranian accounts saying that you can't even get in and out of Kyiv, used to be called Kiev, that fast, that he was killed in a missile strike. I mean, if he was killed by either a poisoning that caused a heart attack or a missile strike and they're covering it up, I mean, you'd have to say that Trump is covering it up because you would almost have to go to war if a foreign government took out one of your senators, but he's so universally
and that's
reviled.
The problem. And the other problem is, how well would Americans take that? Right now, the Republicans can't seem to get enough mojo to stop Trump with regards to the war. But if that happened, might they? I mean, there's so many ramifications. And so Trump mocking anybody looking into this, the more Trump mocks, the more they say there's nothing to this, how dare you even bring it up, the more I think there might be something to it. Here's the problem, though. We'll never know. And don't you dare say anything bad about anybody, or else you're going to get sued for defamation and lose. Got it? Good. Next.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to put my life on it, no pun intended, I would say he probably died from a heart attack. But, who knows? But he was 71.
I would take the opposite stake. If whatever they say is usually a lie, so probably something else bad happened, and now they're going to tell you it was a heart attack, and how dare you question the narrative, or you might be Sandy hooked.
He's 71. It's not as suspicious as, Scalia's death. He wasn't 40.
Okay. Now you're bringing up things that really need investigation. And where's Trump and company and Kash Patel and everybody else on investigating these things? Don't know, but let's move from one senator to the next senator's scandal. Graham's term will be finished out by his sister, as we mentioned, just so everybody knows. Now, Mitch McConnell. A very strange scenario. Not able to perform his duties, missing for weeks, MIA. Then he takes a newspaper photo of him looking at the sports section to kind of prove what? He's alive and that he's real. Now there's more speculation because they say not only is he live in the newspaper thing, it's almost like a kidnap. I mean, it's weird. And then they're like, hey, but he had all kinds of phone conversations. He's basically working from his hospital bed or whatever. So they released this statement from his office. They're making all these claims. And folks like Thomas Massey and others are going, you guys are clowns. Just release a phone call then and prove it to us. So independent digital forensics found no evidence the photo of the newspaper was AI generated or manipulated, but everybody's still wondering because why would you release that like he was kidnapped? I mean, it's just so weird, James. I don't even know how to respond to it.
I would say between the two conspiracies, I would say it's more likely that Mitch McConnell is already dead than Lindsey Graham died by foreign agents, but both of them are certainly within the realm of possibility.
Well, I got an easy way to solve it. Why don't we just get Mitch McConnell on Liberty Roundtable Live, and we'll just talk to him and show everybody that he's happening.
McConnell looked better in that picture that is alleged by many to be digitally altered than I've seen him look in years. And why not just get him on the TV? If he's sitting in the hospital bed and he's sitting up smiling, reading the paper, and he's all dressed, why not just get him on TV?
Yeah, my name is so-and-so from CNN. I'm rolling into the hospital right now. See? Hi, nurse. How you doing? Good. Well, hey, here's Mitch McConnell's room. We're going to block out the number. We're not trying to, let security have a problem here. Let me just roll in and talk to Mitch for a minute. Hey, Mitch, Sam Bushman. Liberty Roundtable Live. How's it going, brother? How you feeling, sir? What can we, right?
He was sitting up in a nice dress shirt, smiling. His wife's there. He's reading the paper. He looked like he was good to go. He looked like he was ready to leave and get back to work. I mean, if that was, in fact,
I know, but if that's the image, then let's do it. Let's sit on the Senate floor and let him give a speech.
It's weird, and there's no reason for them to even allow this concern or question to even fester. It's just very easy to dismiss this, and all he'd have to do, he spent his whole life in the public eye. What's a big deal to do a quick TV interview to get this off of talking points? If he is dead and they're keeping him they could replace him. Look, this whole thing with Lindsey Graham's sister, that just goes to show what a joke it is, really. I mean, I still think, and Steve King has become a dear friend of ours, over the years, former congressman. The first time I ever interviewed him, he gave the best behind the scenes take, and full on great insightful take on how Washington works and how you come in there as an idealistic freshman and how they either bribe you or browbeat you to just do whatever the party leadership wants, and they threaten your committees and this, that, and that. So, anybody can be a congressman or a senator. All you got to do is do what you're told to do. Vote how you're told to vote. And that's why you see almost all votes on party line.
The sooner you get compromised, the greater chance you'll get advanced.
You don't have to be very smart. How smart could Lindsey Graham's sister be? What qualifies her to be a senator? One of the 50 most
qualifications as AOC does.
Well, who's a former bartender. I was about to bring that up. But a senator is even a step above a congressperson. This is one of the 50 most powerful people, not just in the country, but in the world, because of America's standing in the world. And it's to put a sister in there, very weird. But it just goes to show how easily replaceable Mitch McConnell would be. If you just want somebody to get in there and vote how you need him to vote, just put his wife in there, for God's sake.
And my response about this Mitch McConnell thing is this. I think that who really needs to do the digging on this is Rand Paul. Okay, he's from the same state. He's the, quote, junior senator. He should be saying, hey, I need to know what's going on with my colleague here. And
Great point.
I don't hear a word from Rand Paul on this thing. And Rand could say, listen, I talked to Mitch. Mitch is doing fine. He said I could come in and talk to him and do a video. If Rand Paul were to endorse it and show a little video clip of them conversing in the hospital or whatever else, I would put the speculation to rest. But they don't want the speculation to be at rest. What they want to do is keep the senator top, billing, and they love these conspiracies. They want to keep it rolling, James.
It's weird. You have a great point there, Sam. It would be very easy for Rand to just hop in the car. They're in the same state, drive over to the hospital, get this under wraps.
I mean, he's literally my colleague. There's only two of us from the whole state of Kentucky, and he's my colleague, and I work with him every day, basically, whatever. And, you would think that that's who would check on it and put this thing to rest in 2 seconds.
It's one of the weirder stories in a while, to be honest with you.
Or maybe even his wife or one of his children could go do it in 2 seconds and say, listen, this is clown show speculation. Stop. But they keep it's interesting how they just keep letting it go. I don't even know that I understand it.
Wait, he looked like he's been dead for years. He would twitch out and malfunction and just and he falls a lot, but he looks
now
good
he's just chilling reading the sports section. So my responsibility my thought is if he's just reading the sports section, why not, vote in Congress? Why not just prop him up right in there and everything? And, he could do it. Anyway, very strange. And again, it's two top old senators. The last point I want to make on this is, do you realize how many senators are over 50? Almost all of them, James.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And most of them are over 60. So the average age of a senator right now, I think, is like 66 years old.
Of course. I mean, once you're up to that level, it's just, it's hard you can't even run.
You got to be 30 years old to even be a senator according to the Constitution. I get that. There's reasons for it and everything else. But at the same time, I think we're creating a what do you call it? A geriatric kind of a leadership in government right now. And I think it's a serious problem. All right. One good news piece. The House passed a bill for year-round daylight savings time, aiming to enhance sleep and boost the economy. On July the 14th, they did it. Overwhelming support, by the way. 308 in favor, 117 against. And it's known as the, quote, Sunshine Protection Act of 2025. And they say that, hey, changing clocks forward and back twice a year creates all kinds of harm to health and safety and everything else. And if approved by the Senate and endorsed by the president, it will pass. And the interesting thing is that the Senate is where the unknowns are. Trump says he'll pass it. But you know what? The bill faces opposition from some who say it's nothing compared to other pressing national issues. My response is, yeah, you could say that, but a win would sure be nice to get people on the same page. Maybe a couple of wins and some simpler topics could pave the way for some real working together in Congress. But then many are saying, and I'm one of them, why do it daylight savings time? Why not do it standard time? Standard time is a lot better for people's health than everything else they say. But I support it either way. I'd prefer standard time, but I'll accept either. This back and forth stuff has got to stop. The question is, will the Senate shoot it down? Now, interestingly enough, before we let you respond, James, the Senate back in 2022 passed a bill and the House let it languish. Now the House, in a reverse, sets the standard, passes it. Will the Senate deliver or will they let it languish? What do you think of the whole thing, James?
I got to say, I disagree with you on this. If I'd have been voting, it'd have been 118 against. I love falling back. I love it getting dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the winter. Winter is supposed to be dark and cold. I don't want it to be dark at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I don't like it that it stays light until 9 p.m. in the summer. I like, and again,
well, that's why you leave the fall back time. You do the standard time, not the daylight time. But yes,
yeah. But if we stay on where we're at right now, because we've sprung forward, now we're in where it stays light until the middle of the night.
That's why I favor the standard time.
Well, what I favor is it getting dark early in the winter. No, so whatever we have to do to get on that schedule and just stay there. I mean, I don't mind. Whatever, however it affects the summer.
Yeah, that would be
that
would be the standard time that would happen.
So, I mean, are we going to fall back and then lock this thing in, or are we going to stick on the current schedule? Because again,
well, that's what right now the bill that was passed is daylight savings time, so it would stay on the time we're on now. I'm favoring that we fall back and then quit changing it.
Well, so it looks like neither of us are going to get what we want, and they're going to do
that's right.
the one option.
Yes, of course they are.
But I mean, part of it is because I'm just a creature of habit. I don't like seeing change just for change's sake. I mean, people will say, "Oh, my health." How much does it really kill you to adjust an hour twice a year. Some people say it does matter a lot. We've done it forever, and humanity's survived this long. I mean, the whole world pretty much does this. Europe does it, I think, a few weeks after we do. But I do, again, as I say, it's just not going to feel quite like winter if you don't have the early nights in the cold, long, dark. That's what winter's about.
Especially
right?
if you live in a place where there's no winter anyway, hardly. So,
so at least we
go
can
to a
get
place
dark
where there's
early.
really winter, James, and it'll feel like winter, just so you know.
It'll still feel like it, but
yeah.
if it's sunshine at 7 o'clock at night on Christmas, I
You're
don't
right.
like it.
I get it. I understand. That's why I say that I think we need to fall back to standard time, because daylight savings time is a manipulated time by government already. Let's just go back to time before the government manipulated it and leave it the heck alone.
Well, wasn't the whole thing originally
I don't know if
for
this will pass or not.
farmers? Didn't they originally do it way back when?
It was Ben Franklin's biggest faux pas, is what it was.
Yeah, there was no reason. I mean, well, he said so the farmers can get an extra day, a day of light during the growing season, basically,
extra
the
hour of
planting
light,
season. Yeah. Excuse me.
Anyway, the whole thing's disaster in our modern time. I don't support any of it. I just think it's crazy. But I think we ought to go back to standard time. But they're not. They're going to pass this daylight one. Do you think Senate will pass it? Is the last
That's
question
the
on the
thing.
topic.
That's our last hope. I mean, I would imagine with it being so. If I had to guess and not knowing, because I didn't even know this was an issue. I mean, they've been threatening to do this for years now. I guess.
Yeah,
all
but
of
it's
a sudden,
modern.
here it
July
is.
14th, the House passed it, so it's real right now.
Right. No. This is this week's news, and Trump has already said he'll go for it.
Sign it,
So, but I mean, with it being so overwhelming in the House, you would probably hazard a guess that the Senate will also pass it. I hope they don't.
My guess is they don't pass it. I hope they do. I would
Why do you
rather
think
not
that-
move times. I don't want to move times all the time.
With it being 3-1 in the House, why do you think the Senate would be so drastically?
Because they hate Donald and they know he wants it. Donald should have said he didn't want it. Then they'd pass it. See?
Well, they got a Republican. I mean, a lot of Democrats were obviously voting for this in the House, though. So
yeah, we'll see. Time will tell then what's going to happen. The Senate could pass it immediately, but it'll languish, and we'll be talking about it for the midterms for sure. That's the way they play these games. It's a tragedy. JD Vance is in the news as well. JD Vance makes surprise visit to Austin, Texas, to hang out with Joe Rogan for another podcast. This is interesting. He unexpectedly arrived in Austin, Texas, sparking widespread speculation about him being on the Joe Rogan show. He had done it before now. He was originally scheduled for legislative discussions in Washington, and he bailed on those to do this, and that's kind of why it's hitting such news, James.
yeah, I don't know. The timing of it is suspicious. Otherwise, going on the Rogan podcast is sort of become a rite of passage for politicians and especially candidates, for aspiring candidates. I mean, Donald sealed the deal by going on there in the last days before Kamala. It's sort of like when you were a 60s band and it'd been a while since you last hit, you would do like a civil rights song, because you knew that was going to fly in the late '60s. So just to get back on the top 100. So I don't know, but this is sort of like that, I guess. If you hadn't had a win in a while or any positive news, you're going to go and do a Rogan show.
Anyway, I find it interesting, though, and this is how they promote certain hosts to stardom. That's how when Kamala Harris did I can't remember what her name is, but she does that sex podcast or whatever.
Yeah, Call Me Daddy or Call Her Daddy.
Call her, whatever it is. And so then she got a big boost, and so did the host. That's kind of how I mentioned before. What you do is you take some people and you have them have a feud or have some breakout moment that the media then covers, and it launches both groups' statures. It's similar to that as well. And what they're trying to do is prepare JD Vance for the 2028 battle. And JD Vance is now predicting that AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, will lead the Democratic presidential race in 2008. So the idea is, hey, we want to set up JD Vance to go head-to-head with AOC. James?
Going back full circle to what we were talking about an hour ago and Nick Fuentes, he did make a good point that I did see this week, and it is that whoever is the Republican nominee is going to have a very tough road to hoe with regards of threading the needle, and that you're probably going to see a Democrat
Yeah, we've
come
done
in.
nothing but we're relevant, that needle.
Well, I think what it is Trump has so jacked up his winning coalition from 2024 with the war in Iran, with the bungling of the Epstein files, with no deportations, and just he's just sort of shattered
making billions of dollars in his private family. That doesn't sit well with anybody, James.
Well, and so if you're the Republican nominee coming up, you're gonna have to thread the needle in. And this was an astute observation by Fuentes, I have to say. You're gonna have to cater to the older demographic that watches Fox News, that loves Trump, because all they watch is Fox News and all they do is say good things about him, versus the younger people who are entirely disenchanted compared to where they were 2 years ago. And it's just going to be difficult to say.
MAGA versus the old Bush crowd in the Republican Party, and then the whacked out AOC extreme side of the Democratic Party versus people that are going, hold on, we've gone too far. So now you've got really kind of four factions to deal with in two parties. Third party might have an opportunity here like you've never seen before.
I got to tell you that, and again, just the take was you're going to have to at once laud everything Trump's done while running against what he's done to keep the other half of the coalition. And it's probably going to be 4 years of Democrat tyranny before you're going to get another consensus on the right. But speaking of third parties, coming up on my show this weekend, two things coming up. Number one, we've got the movie director Uwe Boll is how you pronounce his name, German movie director. He made the Citizen Vigilante movie that everybody's talking about.
Uwe Boll, yep.
And he will be on this weekend, and Elon Musk has been promoting that movie, and it's just been a big rage this summer. But also, speaking of third parties, Sam, our good friend, also fellow host here on the Liberty News Radio Network, Lou Moore will be back on to talk about Tucker Carlson's promise, really not a threat, but a promise to make a third party. And if he thinks that will fly, of course, Lou was the former campaign manager for Ron Paul's presidential bid, and we'll be talking about that. And also, of course,
a gentleman by the name of Jim Fetzer, who I interviewed, or James Fetzer, by the way. I had a great interview with him, and he basically is proposing to the Freedom Fest and the Red Pill Expo and everybody that will listen. He's proposing a third-party libertarian ticket that would consist of Thomas Massey and Green.
That's a whole nother hour of conversation. I would love to sink my teeth into that because, of course, I cut my teeth working for Pat Buchanan on a third-party endeavor.
That's why I bring it up because
there.
Anyway, Jim Fetzer's really pushing this idea, and he just says, "Man, it would be the ticket to die for." And then he said, we might be able to do a Thomas Massey, Tucker Carlson, or a Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massey, and either way, a third party. The only one that really has a chance is the Libertarian Party because they're the only ones that have somehow made it to all 50 states on the ballot.
See, that's
kind of
a big issue.
And so we got to see who could we really put up for a third party, though, and maybe change the game because the Republicans are divided big time. The Democrats are divided big time. It might be the best chance ever, especially if you had a ticket or a Libertarian, which are on the ballots on all 50 states right now. That's maybe your best opportunity for a third party to ever fly. I think Jim Fetzer's right on that. Anyway, I spent a lot of time with Jim Fetzer over the last several days, too. I did an interview with him, went to dinner with him, had a great time, picked his brain on a lot of topics. He's convinced that Charlie Kirk's still alive. He's also convinced Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. And he, different from Alex Jones, Alex Jones got barbecued in the Sandy Hook thing. Jim Fetzer's still fighting and trying to produce evidence to the courts right now. Very interesting twist on that. But check out my interview with Jim Fetzer, James. Pretty interesting.
That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of content right there. But interesting, all of it. But that's one thing I remember with Pat back in 2000 with the Reform Party. The ballot access requirements vary, and they vary wildly from state to state. And I remember all that. So getting on the ballot, people think, I'm going to run for president. It's not that simple. And there's a lot to say that there's a lot that goes into it.
If Tucker and company backed a Libertarian Party ticket and we got the right people, you might have something there. We'll keep an eye on that ball as the midterms and or the 2028 elections kind of mirror up. Donald having an event for the midterms. Do you think we're going to go to that, James? Should we go in September? It's in
Where
Texas,
are we going?
Right?
What are we doing in Texas?
Well, there's a midterms event that the Republicans are putting together, right? They normally do it only on the 4-year cycle. They're doing it midterms now. Anyway, I'll talk to you more about it. Let's see if we want to go.
Bloodbath.
All right. Thanks for being alongside for the ride. James Edwards, thepoliticalcesspool.org, every Saturday night live or anytime you like at thepoliticalcesspool.org. I'm Sam Bushman. We're heard and seen everywhere. Spread the word, share the love, and God save our constitutional republic.